Well, hello. We're back. Um, Second of two reviews tonight on High Tide Imbibe. I have another local thing. This is kind of newish as well, and this is from Breton Brewing here in Nova Scotia, specifically in Cape Breton. Go figure. And this is their Tiny Angus Pale Ale, sitting at 4.5% alcohol by volume. We have it on their website, so I'm just going to share that real quick. Share screen. Sure. There we go. Tiny Angus Pale Ale. Keep wanting to say Tiny Anus. Sometimes even Angus needs to take it easy. Tiny in strength, but mighty in flavor and aroma. Don't need to know. It basically just says it tastes like black Angus, but just tiny. So 35 IBUs, 4.5% alcohol by volume. So it's a version of the regular Black Angus IPA, which is at 6.2%. And of course, this was named after Giant McCaskill, who was a sort of a legendary folkloric real person, but kind of, a lot of legends and stuff around the guy because he was like the world's tallest man. He was like 7'9" or something like that, they say, and used to routinely pick up like ship's anchors and shit like that as feats of strength. I wrongly pointed out in my Black Angus review years ago that he impaled himself with one of the ship anchors and died of blood poisoning as a result. He did injure himself with a ship's anchor, but the whole impaled himself with one is kind of a urban legend, folklore kind of bullshit, fake news, basically. But that is popularly spread around, and I believed it because my parents believed it, and they told me. So there you go. Which good reason to do your own research, at least on certain things. You can believe the experts in science and stuff, but when it comes to like, hey, this guy did this thing, maybe do some research and see if they actually did it. But yeah, I did lift anchors. And so 6.2% and 60 IBUs for the regular. And of course, I reviewed the Crazy Angus Double IPA, which is kind of small in strength for a double IPA. It's 70 IBUs, 7.5% alcohol by volume, so not that crazy. But I have reviewed this as well. So, the Tiny Angus is just a pale ale. It's not even an IPA or anything like that. So basically what we're hoping here is we'll kind of get like the smooth drinkability of a regular pale ale, but with the flavor of Black Angus or Crazy Angus, which is a kind of a citrusy pale ale. There's like an element of dankness to it as well, that kind of like leads it more semi-West Coasty than East Coasty. It's not necessarily super tropical fruit bomb milkshake, no New England IPA bullshit or anything like that. So, but this is, I definitely say this is more like a modern IPA, and like, well, the Black Angus and the Crazy Angus are more modern IPAs in their like presentation and flavor profile, but still closer to old school than like a New England kind of thing. If that makes any fucking sense. I don't know anymore. We'll pour this baby. All right. All right. So it looks a little brighter orange in color on screen. It's actually a more clear golden straw color in reality. Let's go the aroma. Mm. So it's got a pretty strong like almost resinous like grapefruit note to it, and pine kind of mixed together. And then like on the edges, there's definitely the tropical citric kind of thing that um, the Black Angus and the Crazy Angus claims to have. Um, it smells just like those beers. Um, Same thing. It's got this like I said, grapefruit, pine, and around the edges, kind of like a mango, kind of melony papaya, tropical, kind of like tropical fruit cup kind of thing. Maybe a little teeny bit of pineapple-ish note there as well. Well, it smells good. It doesn't smell like a lot of these newer IPAs do that just like straight go on straight into like hardcore like pineapple or peach or anything like that. That's going to be more of a turn off to me, drinking wise. Um, this feels a little bit more well balanced, a little bit more well rounded. It's got a little bit more going on, and it smells like a beer and it smells like an IPA. But in this case, of course, pale ale. But yeah, it smells good. It smells appealing. So cheers. So it's got a little bit less body than the Black Angus does, I'd say, which I think is to be expected since they've dumbed down things a little bit here. But for all intents and purposes, it pretty much tastes like the Black Angus or the Crazy Angus. It's got all those notes I was giving you in the nose, kind of come out in the taste. There's a nice drying finish on this. It's not as intense as Black Angus or Crazy Angus, of course. So it's like a really good scaling down of those beers into a more accessible, drinkable kind of format for people who don't necessarily like harsher beers. Not that Black Angus or Crazy Angus are really that wild. I don't think they are. But I mean, I've got like 20 years of craft brew drinking under my belt or more. So, you know, actually more like 25. So I'm kind of used to this shit. There's very little that I have not experienced, and very little surprises me or wows me anymore. But yeah, no, this is good. It's got a good drying kind of bitterness that lingers in the finish, and the flavor up front is good enough. So I mean, if you are looking for like the lighter version, basically, and here's one thing I'll give Breton Brewing Company credit for too. Now they might ruin this and end up making this beer in this way I'm going to describe here in a sec and just totally make me look like a fool. But at least they didn't turn this into like an India session ale where they dumbed down the alcohol to like 3% and the malt is like totally stripped away, the body is totally stripped away, and it's just like a watery thing with the hop flavor. They might still do that. Who knows? Maybe they'll make micro Angus at some point or something like that. And totally contradict what I said, but so far they haven't done that. They went the pale ale route instead, which seems like the more logical step down, and I like that because it's still a beer with a bit of a body to it, even though it's a little upper light bodied, and it still retains the flavor. And yeah, so it just drinks like a easier drinking version of Black Angus and Crazy Angus, and that's what it's supposed to be. Now, is it the best pale ale I've ever had? No. But I think it hits all the marks it has to hit, especially to be like more of a North American pale ale with like more modern hop varieties in it, more modern hop flavor profile in it. So I think it's still like a solid 8 as a pale ale. It works really well. And my own personal preference, I'd throw a 7. I'd buy it again. It doesn't wow me. Like I'm probably just more inclined to buy Black Angus again before I'd buy this or Crazy Angus. But I mean, I'd still buy this and definitely drink it if someone handed it to me. There's no question. So the Tiny Angus Pale Ale, 8 for style, 7 for personal preference. Decent lighter option for people who are fans of Breton's Black Angus and Crazy Angus, but they, maybe they want one that they can have a little bit lighter, have it with food or something like that, or whatever they want to do, or they just want to sit on the porch for most of the afternoon and drink them instead of instead of drinking like a Crazy Angus and you have like 3 of them and then all of a sudden you're fucked or whatever, right? Or even with like Black Angus at 6.2%, you have 4 or 5 of those and you're going to feel it a lot more than if you have 4 or 5 of these at 4.5%. So yeah, it's the safer, more friendly option for you, maybe. Who knows? But yeah, I am going to sign out. All you fuckers be well. Thank you for watching. And we'll see you again when we see you. Bye-bye.